Well, good afternoon. I thought I'd come to you guys and just talk a little bit about uh, a scandal that's going on now, and not unusual, but this one has some really far-reaching implications regarding he's the representative elect, George Santos, from the third district in the state of New York. And here's a part of the problem with this guy and how it relates to how we see ourselves and the country sees us as people of color. What we're going to find is that this guy fabricated everything about himself, everything. And yet he's allowed to, thus far, move forward with actually taking a seat in the United States Congress. And Republicans are all silent on this issue. Moreover, the Jewish community and those big organizations that attack Kanye West and Kyrie Irving are silent regarding this man. So let me share my screen and show you a little bit about just who this guy is. As I said, this is him, George Santos. And the New York Times broke this story. It says published a bombshell investigation about this guy. Now, let me digress just a little bit. This guy couldn't afford to pay his rent in several places. He lied about having a college education. He lied about his maternal grandparents being Jewish and having escaped the Holocaust. He lied about his work record, that he worked with big financial firms. Um, Yet he was vetted. He was vetted by the Republican Party and put up as this. He's elected as the first openly gay Republican from that district. Okay. Now he got a divorce from his wife, but that's a whole nother thing that we won't get into. But all of this he did to win this seat with the National Republican Party knowing what this man was doing and the money that came up to move this man into this seat. He flipped the Democratic seat. So as you look at him, here's the thing. We get into this thing about you're born a certain way. No, there's a choice. This man chose to say he is gay. And the American society says that's great. You see, if you look at my face, you'll know that I am black all the time. And if I was to tell you, oh, well, I want to run for this seat, and my grandparents, they escaped the Holocaust, and I work for Wall Street, and I went to this prestigious university, you you would immediately dismiss me. You would say I'm a fraud. And the reason that you're saying I'm a fraud is not because you investigated anything. It's because of your perception of my exterior. You say, no way. So, for example, if I were to say to you that my last name is Manning, that's not an African name, not at all. If you know nothing you know Manning is not an African name. So if you looked at my last name and I were just to tell you, oh, my heritage is from Scandinavia, by going by from Scandinavia and then going to England, the Norsemen, you would say, no way. And yet, my friends, that's a fact. Can we deal with facts? Here's another fact. This man is a liar. Everything about him is a lie, and yet he's accepted. He can get up in the morning and say, hey, you know what? This is what I am. I am coming out as a gay Republican, and I'm going to run for this seat. And he's accepted just by what he says. I hope you catch that. Just by what he says. Because our society says, you know what? I think he is that. Not based on anything that we know about him, which would be truth. We don't want to know the truth. All we want to know is, what does he say? And this man insults the entire Jewish nation when he so I don't know the word to describe what this man is doing. I think he's desecrating the memory of over 11 million Jews who died in the Holocaust, because he just simply says, oh yeah, I'm a part of that. Oh my. If that's not, it's what Kyrie did, tweeting about a movie. Is it more offensive than what this man did? Is it? And yet, the media, mainstream media, let's call it what it is, mainstream, basically Caucasian media, is really silent. No one's calling for this man to immediately resign. We're not hearing anything from the Republicans. And the guy who wants to be the speaker and the leader, Representative McCarthy, out of the state of California, not a word. Not one word. Mitch McConnell, not a word. All the other leaders down the line, not a word out of him. He's going to be seated. And they want to investigate other people. They've come in with an agenda. We're going to investigate, I think, Hunter Biden. Really? Do they have any credibility whatsoever to investigate anybody without first investigating this guy? He should not be seated. Everything he did is a complete lie. He lied to the people of New York. He lied to the press. He even lied to himself. And so, to my Jewish brothers and sisters, JDL and every other organization which attacked Kanye West and Kyrie, where are you? Is it okay that this man can insult the deaths of 11 million people so cavalierly and says, well, I'm really not a Jew, but I kind of felt like one? Wow. You see, there's that difference again. If you look like me, then we need to attack you. And we need to strip you of your wealth and your position and everything else. You need to be put off the planet. Hearing those words from Jewish organizations. And yet, right in front of you, this man ran against an actual Jew. And he's in a community that has a lot of Jewish people. And so you voted for someone who's basically desecrating the memory and the graves of your relatives. And you're going to allow him to be seated. Oh, my. Oh, what do we say to these things? Bottom line is, it's racism. You said it means I attack people who look like me and people who you even think are you, they get a pass. Even though they're liars and desecrating the memory of 11, they get a pass. Is that not racism on full display? Yes, it is. And that is what's wrong with our country. You see, if you're going to deal with racism on the one hand, it has to be dealt on the other hand. But look at this man. Look at what they're doing. It's on full display. If you look like me, you don't get a pass on anything. You are considered suspicious. Regardless of whatever is accused, you're suspicious. You're a person of color. You're suspicious. You will be the suspect. But if you look like George Santos, you get a pass, no matter how awful the things that this man is doing. And by the way, some of the things he's doing are illegal. He signed campaign forms, federal forms, stating these things were facts. But as we've seen in the past under the former president, the Republican Party has moved over into accepting anything. Just deny it. He denied it for what, 30 plus days. And when the New York Times dug deeper and busted him, he says, well, I just misrepresented a few things. Everybody does it. I mean, after all, I thought about that perhaps I was Jewish, right? Really? Really? And so the bottom line is this, my friends. Some people get a pass. We don't. And that is racism.